welcome back to the program, Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. So were you in town just happened to be in town for the special session? Or did you have to, cancel plans or anything
no,
for that?
I was not. I was actually out of state at that point in time, and just got back in maybe yesterday or something. I was up in Iowa.
Are you running for president? No, I'm kidding. So are you saying you were not even at the special session while it was going on?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay.
Not there.
Are you aware that they had a special session? Did you know they did that while you were gone?
Yeah, I actually had to sign the paperwork for
right.
it. So.
Well, that's why I thought you were there.
Coming back, but yeah, we just couldn't change our schedule last second, so we weren't there.
So you are aware, obviously, of what it was about and what happened, and it's hard to kind of keep up with the lawsuits and the appeals and the stays and everything. So I guess I should just ask it this way. Are we having an election in November, or are we not?
Well, I would imagine so, Pete. This is, I'm with you. I was actually thinking about this before I got on. I was thinking, which lawsuit might we be talking about today? There's always about 10 or 20 of them going on, and sometimes I even get them mixed up. It's kind of a weird time when you start to get to know these judges by name. Judge Wynn in the federal district court in Richmond, Virginia. I mean, whoever knows a federal district court judge's name? But we seem to hear his name every week or so in North Carolina. So, it's just more par for the course when you have these lawsuits pop up, either in state or now with our own Supreme Court or at the federal district level in Richmond. So everything we do as Republicans, we're pretty much guaranteed that somebody's going to sue for something frivolous and call it unconstitutional, and you're going to have some lawyer in a black robe somewhere strike down the will of the General Assembly or the will of the people.
Right. So is it coincidence that we keep getting that same judge up there? Do you know? I mean, that's because that's odd.
He sits on all the panels, doesn't he?
It does seem like
where this panel's coming from. It seems like Judge Wynn is always on the panel somewhere.
Let's deal with the not the congressional district maps. Let's deal with the lawsuit going on over the constitutional amendments. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and at that point, the lower court, the Superior Court judges had ruled. I think it was Superior Court judges that they had ruled that the constitutional amendments, 2 of them were fine, 2 of them were not, and then the legislature came back into session to rewrite the 2 that were not, and now. It seems like the Republicans are saying we have corrected the issues that the judges cited as for why they shouldn't be allowed on the ballot. We fixed those, and now here comes the governor who tried to get this immediately seen by the Supreme Court, and then he got rejected on that, and now he's going back to those 3 judges to say the language still isn't good enough. That's my understanding of it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, it is. The only part you're leaving out is that these courts really don't even have the authority to do that. I mean, the authority for, passing these bills so you can put a constitutional amendment on the ballot lies with the legislature. The authority to write the wording on there lies with the legislature. It doesn't lie with the court. So you're getting an activist court anytime you see these things pop up and the court getting engaged. They're being an activist court, and that's true in this case, too.
The legislative committee that we met yesterday was 50 of them. This is like a government oversight, the Joint Legislative Commission on Governmental Operations. Big meeting yesterday. The Democrats call it all a sham, and it was political theater, which, okay, fine. You want to call it political theater? I mean, I view it the same way as I viewed Governor Cooper's trip down east to visit Hurricane Matthew afflicted areas. And then he visited a house that was built with money that he had nothing to do with. But fine if you want to call it theater. But at the end of the day, the legislators are trying to bring light to 2 issues here, right? The pipeline slush fund and the Hurricane Matthew disaster of a disaster response, in my opinion. So, and it looks like they're going to get subpoena power.
Yeah, I mean, here's 2 big issues that the media has even completely brushed under the rug. So to speak. It's unbelievable. I mean, Pete, Republican governor will be in there. This will be on the front page above the fold every single day until the media got the answers they want, but not even really a question from the print media in North Carolina to the governor about these issues. So they just brush it under the rug and act like it doesn't exist. But these are still two significant issues. Certainly the hurricane issue. We're 2 years from Matthew, haven't built a home yet, hundreds of millions of dollars sitting on the sideline for that very purpose, and no action. But not even that. It's the real issue is that there's no response. There's nothing from the governor or his people saying when there actually is going to be action on this and people can expect to get their homes built. I mean, that's just, if nothing else, common courtesy to say, hey, it's going to be another couple months, but we'll have some stuff built for you in a couple months. At least let people know. Right now, everybody's in the dark, and I think it's the legislature's responsibility to figure out what's going on.
The administration says that more than $743 million has been spent in the recovery. The problem, they say, according to this WRAL report, has been a federal rebuilding fund called the CDBG DR Fund, and it's typically some of the last money spent in recovery, and that the administration has drawn down $2 million of the $236 million in federal CDBG DR money available. The feds say that we are what's called a slow spender. Did you know that North Carolina is a slow spender? I wasn't aware of that. But they say that the administration says that the state shifted management of the program from the Department of Commerce to the Division of Emergency Management in 2016, and that's part of the problem. Go ahead.
My understanding is the problem is the structure. South Carolina has a different structure. They had to go through the same thing. They've already, rebuilt all their homes. They're done. They're laughing at North Carolina going, what in the world are you guys doing up there? But we created a different structure here rather than following the plans of South Carolina. We should have just taken their playbook and copied it, put our name in place of theirs and sent it to the federal government and said, please approve this. And we would have had all our houses built, all the homes built by now, and the business people back in their businesses. But that's not the path they chose to take, and they chose apparently to decentralize things, and it's caused quite a mess. And so, they're still victims of this hurricane down there. We're right in the middle of hurricane season again.
Yeah, it's getting ready. Yeah, it's starting up right now. We actually were talking to our weather guy yesterday, and they're already tracking a storm off the coast of Africa.
Yeah.
So here it comes. So the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. I think some of the responses that I've seen from Democrats on this, I kind of get the feeling they may be worried that this committee, these subcommittees that are going to be doing the oversight, that they have subpoena power. I get the feeling this may be a concern. Although I guess if they subpoena Roy Cooper, they're not going to find any emails because the guy doesn't email, from what I remember. Yeah. So is this a big deal for the legislative branch to be able to subpoena stuff from the executive? Because I'm trying to remember another time when that has occurred.
Yeah, I don't know, Pete. That's a bit beyond my pay grade. So honestly, I wish I could tell you, but I really don't know anything about that. And I'd just be guessing if I were to even say anything about it. But the situation's obviously a big deal. The basic responsibility of the governor was either just to sign that order for the pipeline or not to sign it, but not to get a bucket of cash to spend how he chooses to spend it. And so there's definitely an issue there. Something went on behind the scenes. I don't know, you don't know who it was, a governor or a staffer or who. But I think it's, incumbent upon us to figure that out. You can't just brush these things under the rug and act like they didn't exist. It
is sort of a pattern here emerging now, 2 years into his administration, which kind of leads me to another question. Have you had an opportunity to head over to get your real ID at the secret DMV office that was over there? Did you get a chance to do that?
No, I actually had to update my driver's license a while ago, and I went online and did it. Still didn't get my real ID because the lines were so long. So no, I have to wait in line just like everybody else does for my ID. But that situation is the optics on it are really bad. Don't really know exactly what happened or who said let's set this thing up and then just invite certain people over, to get their driver's licenses from the DMV. It obviously sounded like a good idea to somebody. I just don't know exactly who that was, but apparently that's shut down now. But again, this is another one of those things where people from the administration aren't willing to answer questions. This is it kind of blows my mind. I mean, I never, as you know, I'm on your show regularly, but I never shy away from media. If anybody asks me a question, I'll do my best to answer it or find an answer for them. But I can't imagine running from the media and hiding from them and not answering questions. So I'm not sure what's going on and why people don't want to answer questions to these things. But that's really is the pattern, and the media, the mainstream media in North Carolina, has given this administration a free pass on everything.
I asked the other day, and I really don't know the answer. I'm not aware of the last time this governor did a press conference. I'm trying to.
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. I can't remember either. The last one I remember seeing was him answering questions related to the pipeline. It wasn't a press conference, but it was questions related to the pipeline, and when they were there for some other issue. But yeah, I don't remember the last press conference.
Yeah, and for folks, I'll just let you know, like when Lieutenant Governor called in, I answered the phone and I said to him, "Is there anything you want to hit on? Any topics you want to hit on?" And he said, "You replied to me, no, just whatever you want to ask." So this is I don't give the governor or lieutenant governor here a list of the questions that I go over. Heck, most of the times I don't even know what questions I'm going to ask him specifically as I start talking. So like on the DMV thing, like I just saw this is because the DMV is under the governor's control, and I'm like there is a statement here that they won't do an interview with this reporter who broke the whole story. The DMV spokesperson says they're not going to do an interview with let him interview the commissioner because he didn't include a statement in his earlier story that was factually incorrect. So because he didn't put it in, they're not going to let him talk to the commissioner, which is, it's just amazing. And I'm trying to imagine if you or your predecessor or if any of the leaders in the Senate and how, if they were to act in this sort of way, I can't imagine a similar circumstance and what the reaction would be. Yeah,
well, I know what the reaction would be, but I wouldn't avoid them, but I know what the reaction would be if I did.
Right. Let me ask you also, the big story, we mentioned it a little bit before the newscast. Big story that WRAL did, I believe, and it was on donations. Here it is. Like 5 pages printed out. CEOs gave heavily during legislative session, exposing a loophole. So apparently the lobbyists can never give money. PACs cannot give money during the session. Companies cannot give money during the session. But if you are a CEO of a company, you can give money during a session. Is this a loophole? Is this a problem?
I mean, as long as you're not a lobbyist and a CEO at the same time, then yeah, that's the case. I mean, a loophole. It's been that way. The Democrats wrote all this language. What they focus on is the money going to Republicans. Isn't that funny?
Well, yeah.
But I mean, there's the campaign finance is all screwed up. I mean, the whole thing should just be made 100% transparent. Take away all these ridiculous rules that keep people from giving full amounts to campaign. I think you should just have unlimited campaign contributions by anybody with immediate 24-hour disclosure on every single donation as to who it is. So, getting rid of all these other entities that end up influencing elections from all other places in the country. You have these PACs from California that come in and put millions of dollars or tens of millions into a North Carolina campaign. Let's just get rid of that. Let's just have full disclosure about who everybody is, where all the money's coming from, and then you get rid of all the loopholes.
I think there was it Senator Rabun, I believe, who was making a similar argument, like just open them all. Yeah, just open it up, and as long as there's same-day reporting or something so everybody knows where the money's coming from, and that's it.
Exactly, yeah. And there's no questions, right? Then you know who's trying to influence your elections and where they're from.
Right, and it should be pointed out that I remember there was a study read in a book called Freedomnomics where they actually examined lawmakers and the money they get as associated with the votes that they cast, and they found that once a lawmaker announces their retirement, their votes don't change even when the money dries up. In other words, the money is following the philosophy rather than the votes being for sale in general.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest, thanks so much for your time as always, and we look forward to talking with you again real soon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much, Pete. Have a great day now.
Take care.